All right, go. Share some good news with me, y'all.
I did almost 100 Christmas cards yesterday. They're extremely late, but that's all right because some great text laughing about my being late were had.
All right, we got to make the contact somehow. Good job. Good job. I always did, I don't know, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I always did the Thanksgiving cards just because I wanted them to get the message before they started getting the onslaught of holiday cards. You know, or I would do it a little late and I would do the New Year's cards. So I didn't want to be one of like 50 Christmas cards. But it's all about the back and forth. Donna, by the way, I noticed this the other day and I forgot to mention it to you. I love how your name is Donna Patrick Roswell Metro Atlanta. That is very smart. Good job on that.
I think isn't it, where did you see that?
It's your name. It's your Zoom name.
Oh, I think my son changed it. He used my Zoom account for his study group for his real estate class. I think he changed that, so I can't take credit.
That's so smart, especially if you're in a class like with people across the country, right? There's lots of Zooms that are being done with people all across the country. And people say, oh, this woman, Donna, she's asking great questions. She's adding, value. Oh, look, she's from Metro Atlanta. Super smart.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad I did that.
All right, don't everyone change it to Metro Atlanta now. They'll think I'm up to something. All right, anyone else want to share anything?
I used the Key Please app this weekend. I did a showing for another agent up in Milton. That was fun. Got to use my all my apps on my phone. Enjoyed that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move right into the let me just see who's here. Okay, let's move right into the buyer brokerage agreement discussion. That is why you guys are here today, I assume. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, real quickly, I'd say there's two major components to the buyer brokerage agreement that I would like to review with you today. But if you guys could just do a little spitfire for what questions you have or what you're hoping to learn today, I want to make sure that I cover all of that. Go. What is it about the buyer brokerage, either the actual paperwork that you don't understand, or what it does or what it doesn't do, or some part of the actual, like one of the things you put in the blanks, like when to bring it up, how to use it, like what kind of questions do you have?
I'll ask a stupid question. Where do I find it?
So stupid.
I don't even know where to find it. And can I just take a printed copy with me? I mean, I would want to have one
absolutely
in my, my bag all the time.
Very, very smart. That's not a dumb question. So you get it through DocuSign, okay? Through command through DocuSign. And you can, before you go and make it, nice and pretty and create a perfect system, the docs are going to change in a week or two anyway for 2021 anyway.
Right.
Once they change, you could just save a blank copy to your desktop and print out a bunch of copies. I would always, I know we do everything electronically, but I would always have a blank copy, if not a partially filled out copy of the buyer brokerage agreement. And if you're going on a buyer appointment, of course, and a copy of the listing agreement, which we'll go through in detail tomorrow, when you go on a listing appointment. So if somebody is ready, thank you. Could you, Donna, if you're able, could you post just download a free, not a free, I'm sorry, a version of the buyer brokerage agreement and stick it in the chat for me?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay,
they're also on FMLS also. There's also and you can actually populate it if you like. It's a PDF that you can type into if you want.
Right. So like when I say pre-populated, that's where like you could put in all your realtor information and like your broker's number and your email address and your name and the commission line and all that. We'll walk through that here in just a second.
Can you scan it then? Like if you do a hard copy, you just scan it, or does it have to then be done again in DocuSign?
No. DocuSign is just the warehouse for the document. It doesn't necessarily have to be signed using DocuSign. It just needs to be end up there. So
Okay, good.
the short answer is yes, you can.
And then when are we going to have another class on how to use DocuSign?
That is a Sam question probably. Sam, I think I told you guys this the other day. Sam's in the very final stages. I think he might be putting the offer out this week to somebody who is going to be in the office a couple days a week for exactly these types of issues.
Okay.
So I won't tell you who it is, but that should be revealed very, very soon. Okay, hang tight.
There actually is one in with his videos. I found it the other day. Bill, there's DocuSign on there, but still to have him teach it live would be great also.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Bill?
Okay, yeah, what else? What other topics on buyer brokerage? Yeah,
Just going back to the BBA, if you have a couple of moments, just about pivoting to the agreement from the presentation. Had a presentation yesterday at a coffee shop. I think it went very, very well, and I presented the agreement. I think that it went okay. I didn't get it signed, but I think it went well. But just maybe your tips about pivoting from the presentation to the agreement, because I would like to give the agreement at the presentation.
That's what I would do.
That's a whole nother debate, I guess. But just about pivoting, I think it went well yesterday, but I can definitely use your insights on it.
So I'm going to give you this is a bit of a, I'm not trying to pick apart your words here, but the close is a natural next step for a well done presentation.
Well, how do I make it natural? That's the point. That's exactly.
Meaning it's not a pivot. It's not like we're talking about this thing and all of a sudden we're going to talk about the agreement. It's that, like, if I don't bring it out after I'm done saying what I need to say, they're going to be like, well, aren't I supposed to sign something? You see what I'm saying? So it's just the natural next step.
I get
Now, so let me walk you through kind of how that will look. Okay. What's going to end up happening. All right, what's going to end up happening is you're going to sit down for a buyer consult as quickly as you can. Okay, remember the purpose of the phone is to book the in-person meeting, or at very least the Zoom meeting. So you don't want to try to give your entire buyer broker or buyer presentation on the telephone. The fastest you can book that appointment, the better. Okay, remember the line? Hey, great, sounds like we should meet. Hey, great, Venus, eyes on the road. I'm not doing anything unusual here. I'll look the same in 10 minutes. We want to get in front of them as soon as we possibly can.
Good morning. How are you?
Remember the buyer agreement, the buyer consultation is an opportunity for you to discover the type of person this person is, right? How they want the experience to go. What are the most pressing topics and questions for them, right? What they're looking for in a realtor, how to win with them, how to lose with them, right? We've gone through the buyer presentation on, obviously, so tell me a little bit about the home you want. And remember, we're not an order taker. I don't want a 4-bed, 2.5 bath home in Woodstock for $325. Go. I want to know what's significant about that type of property. You want a big yard? Why? Tell me more about that. You want an open kitchen? Why? Tell me more about that. You want to be in a swim and tennis community? Why? Tell me more about that. Not that's a wrong question. Not why. Why do you want to swim in tennis? Remember, we don't want to ask questions that start with why, because the reaction is generally defensive. We want to just get to the root of what's going on with that, right? If you want a big yard, tell me a little bit more about that, right? You're coming from curiosity and you are allowing them to speak. When the meeting is over, they're going to love you because they did most of the talking, okay? Yet you got all the answers you needed because you were kind of the guide that came in and directed the conversation every minute or two to a different topic, okay? So at the end, remember, by this time you will know the type of property they're looking for. You'll know what their timing is. You'll know what their qualification stuff is. You'll basically know how to serve them. You say, now listen, I want to explain to you something called agency. Okay. I want to help you understand what I can do today, and ultimately what I could do if we become client realtor, if we have a client realtor relationship. So here is a document. You hand them the blank document that is called the exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. Okay. The exclusive buyer brokerage agreement is written by the Georgia Association of Realtors. And what it does is it changes our relationship. So today, according to the state of Georgia, I'm supposed to only do for you what they call ministerial tasks. You are my customer today because we haven't signed anything. Okay. Ministerial tasks are basically things that, for lack of a better way to put it, you could do yourself, right? It's all public information. I can open the door. I can tell you what the taxes are. I can tell you how many bedrooms it is. I can tell you how large the lot is, or maybe what it sold for in the past, right? I can just tell you basically public information. As soon as you want me to start using my brain, right, in the form of giving you suggestions and advice and putting together offers, I shouldn't include that one, right? Giving you advice, walking you through different strategies, these kind of things. That's when this document should be signed, and that's when our relationship becomes a client-agent relationship. Okay, so this is a document that you can terminate it at any time. It can be terminated by either myself or you at any time. And it goes through the expectations, my expectations of you and your expectations of me. It's essentially a loyalty agreement, okay? What you're essentially saying is that any property that you plan to pursue, new construction, resale, relo, condo, townhome, single family home, doesn't make a difference, no matter who found it or where you found it, you will approach me first so that I can guide you through that process and get you access. And if you decide you want to move forward with it, I can walk you through that process too. Okay, so I don't expect you to sign it today. This is where the soft sale comes in. Okay, I don't expect you to sign it today. I just want to give you an opportunity, ample opportunity to read it and review it, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, and what I do believe strongly is that I wouldn't want you to just sign this blindly and agree to work with me if you've never seen me work, right? Because this is a big deal. And you probably want somebody that you're impressed with their work ethic and their communication style and their intelligence, right? So take a look at it, read through it, let me know if you have any questions. And if the next time we meet you haven't signed it, then I'll just make sure all your questions are answered. Okay. But I want to prove to you that I can be a great partner. Does that sound good? 9 times out of 10, they're going to go home and sign it after they review it. Okay. And every once in a while they won't. And then I'll show them another home or two. And at the end of the session, I'll say, hey, by the way, did you have any questions about the buyer brokerage agreement? I'm not making it a big deal. I'm not saying, hey, that exclusive paperwork that I really want you to sign, right? Have you had a chance to sign it or review it? None of that. I'm assuming that it was just an oversight. Hey, did you get a chance to review that paperwork that's going to put us together as a combo, right? Like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Oh, here, I have a paper copy. You want to sign it now? See what I'm saying? I'm not making a big deal about it. At the end of the day, it does have its place in license law, but it doesn't, like, look, if they're going to ghost me, they're going to ghost me, right? It doesn't, it can be terminated at any time, right? So in some respects, it doesn't really even matter. And so I'm not going to push a document in front of them when they're not ready for it. I'm going to help them understand the purpose of it. And I'm going to help them understand how I do what I do and why I do what I do. And then the next thing that is going to happen is they're likely going to sign it. I'm having a hard time downloading this this form. Hang on, let me see if my assistant has sent me this page real fast.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of times, once you tell people that, most buyers don't pay the commission and that this is kind of my security for us working together, they kind of understand it, because a lot of people feel as though they have to pay a real estate agent. And like, once I explain that part of this being our agreement so that, you know, time is not wasted and we're exclusively together. It typically works out better.
Yeah, well, those comments are definitely included in the presentation, which are, you know, ultimately I'm compensated by the owner of the home that you pursue, and additionally, you know, your fee, you don't have to pay anything, right? And no matter where you find the home or I find the home, it's a home that I can help you pursue, right? So once they understand that, again, I'll say something like that. That's a great point, Markia. It's like, hey, this is a loyalty agreement, right? I want to make sure that ultimately, if we're going to work together, then I'll be compensated. And you want somebody that's going to, you know, protect your interest along the way, right? So this is an opportunity for us to decide if we're going to be a good partnership, right? I've gotten very little pushback on the buyer brokerage agreement, okay? But if you generally, when you get pushback, it's because you pushed it too fast, right? You don't need a buyer brokerage agreement to show property, okay? However, I'll just a quick reminder, it's really important to have a buyer consult before you show property. That's just my personal opinion. It's not about, especially if you're like, it's a vacant house and it's nighttime and these kind of things. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but there's definitely been some really tragic stuff that's happened with people trying to convince realtors to show up and meet an unqualified person that hasn't been vetted in any way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I'm having the.
I have one last question, Bill. When it's someone interviewing multiple agents, when do you suggest that the buyer brokerage agreement, like if you're meeting with them either on Zoom or in person, they say, oh, I'm interviewing other agents, so guess how to overcome that obstacle with the buyer brokerage agreement?
I don't know that I would change anything, to be honest. It's like, are they interviewing more than one agent and then they're going to make a choice and then they're going to show all the property? Or are they having multiple agents show them property?
I haven't been in a situation before. I'm just thinking of questions just in case I'm in that situation. So
honestly, I don't know that I would do it any differently. Look, I feel comfortable saying I'm gonna outwork and outlast anyone else they could be interviewing. So if you're not ready to choose me, fine. Let's keep rolling. Keep rolling. You want to see another home? Cool. See you tomorrow. And I'm gonna out impress anybody, and I'm gonna outwork anybody, and then I'm gonna ask, hey, how's everything going? Am I giving you the service you'd like? Is there anything that do you have any feedback? Is there anything I can do better for you? Right? Well, I'm still interviewing other agents. Let me ask you a question. Are you thinking you're ultimately going to choose the agent that like happens to send you the home? Is that what this is about? Or is it you just haven't figured out which agent is going to be the best one to represent you? Oh, I just haven't figured out the agent that's going to be the best one to represent me. Great. What are you looking for? And they're going to say, oh, well, I want somebody that doesn't just send me the home. They send me an explanation about why that home is a good fit. Great. Well, the next home I'm going to send them is going to come with a freaking 6 paragraphs if necessary. Okay. I'm going to get to the bottom of this somehow. I don't really get bothered about that. Look, I'm just going to keep doing what I do with a smile, and eventually they'll give me the business. That's kind of how I feel. Okay, for some reason, I'm having a hard time opening this doc that Donna put. Is anyone looking at the buyer brokerage agreement right now? All right, John, I'm gonna allow you to share your screen. Will you share the screen real fast? Thank you. All right, go all the way up to the top for me. All right. Here's how we fill it out. Just like with every document, you need to read every single word and make sure that it's perfectly clear to you. If it's not,
You got to read every word.
if it's not perfectly clear to you, then you need to ask me or someone else a question about to give you that clarity. Okay. Exclusive agreement. Number one, you put the buyer's name, put the buyer's full legal name. Okay. Middle initials, middle names, not nicknames, that kind of stuff. Okay. You put your, so the buyer's name goes in that top line. The next line is where your name goes. Okay. This date, that's the date that the agreement starts. I'd go ahead and go back up for me a little bit. That's the date that the agreement starts.
I'm sorry, Bill?
Yeah.
Bill, isn't the broker Keller Williams Realty Consultants?
Honestly, I just put both. I put Bill Linkwald / Keller Williams Realty Consultants.
Okay.
Okay. So you're entering into the date on that particular day. Okay. Next section 2 is the start date and the ending date of the relationship. Now, if they are, by this time, you're going to have an understanding of how long off into the future they're looking to buy. So like if somebody's looking to buy in like June, let's say, then I'm going to go from now until, maybe even a year from now, right? I want to go long after when I expect them to close. I would say that this should be absolutely no shorter than 90 days, probably closer to 120 days. Okay. Minimum. Section 3, we are independent contractors always. So you can go ahead and save that, and you never have to go back and change that. Section 4, we offer all types of those agencies, meaning you don't need to check anything. Okay. Dual agency, just to remind you, is when you have an exclusive relationship with the seller, and the buyer at the same time in the same transaction. Okay. The state of Georgia does allow that, and we allow that, but we allow that with permission, meaning you need to go to Aubrey and get official permission. The way that I used to give permission, and I believe the way that Aubrey will give permission, is if you can prove to me you know what you're doing, meaning you know what your limitations are and you know how to handle several different situations that might be a little hairy, then you can get permission to do it. Okay. Make sense? So section 4, no checks. Section 5, on the left-hand side, buyer agrees that broker shall be entitled to the following commission. Generally speaking, you'd put 3% there. Okay, that's the top box, 3%. Okay. Section B, in the event the seller does not pay the broker the full commission, the buyer shall or shall not pay the difference. So you can do whatever you want here. And we are starting to see the commissions being pressured down a tiny bit. We're starting to see a little bit more 2s and 2.5s on the marketing sheets. Just me personally, I'm going to put shall not. If they buy a home for 2.5%, whatever. I'm not going to make a big stink about that. I'm not telling you how to run your business. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to. But I don't want to create this weird thing where like they feel like I'm pushing them towards one property because I'll be paid more. You see what I'm saying? It's not worth it in my opinion. So if you do want to put yes, you're entitled to. That means that if the commission was 2.5, let's say, then the seller would pay the 2.5 and you would seek the other half from your buyer. Okay.
Bill, you would actually even consider that? Going after the buyer for the difference? There would be an instance where you might check buyer shall?
If you're asking me personally, no. But
Okay.
there are some buyers agents or some agents that would say, I get 3%. Yeah, well, they're not going to pay me 2.5. They're going to pay me 2.5. I'm going to get the other half from my client. I don't think that's the right approach.
Me neither.
Right. But have you ever come across people that make decisions that you don't agree with? Right.
Occasionally.
Right. So it's that kind of logic, right? So I'm not here to tell you how to run your business. I'm just here to tell you how to fill out the paperwork. Okay. If you're asking for my professional opinion or my personal opinion, I think you should check shall not. However, I'm not making any commentary on you or the way you run your business if you choose the other way. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm here for the long haul. I'm not here to close this deal and forget all about you. I'm here to close this deal and 25 others and help every friend you've ever known forever. So I'm not going to screw that up over a few $100. Okay. All right, next, section 6, separate commission on leases. So if you are working with a buyer that, let's say they're trying to figure out if they want to buy or lease, then that's where you would put down, like, if they ultimately decide to lease instead of buy, do you get paid? More often than not, that's not really the case. And so I would just put 0 or NA there. Okay. Section 7, protected period. I usually put 90 days there, 90 days. Now, there's a description of what the protected period is in the next couple of pages. I've just put 90 days there. Again, I'm not spending my valuable time chasing down buyers for commissions when they ghosted me. I'm spending time finding new buyers. Okay. There's only one time where, like, I was blatantly violated, and I went after that woman like she's probably never had anyone go after her, and I was paid. Okay. So if it's just like they chose a different realtor at some point, fine. But if you screw me over, you're going to pay. Okay. Next, go down a little bit for me, John, please. Okay, so all of this stuff, so bottom of page 1 and the next couple of pages is explanations of all of the stuff on page 1, right? Protected period, broker's duties, buyer's duties. Make sure you read real good through the, stop for me. Go up just a tiny bit. These are buyer's duties to the agent and agent's duties to the buyer. Make sure you're really clear on this stuff, okay? Okay, you see where it says 2H there, FSBOs? Remember that if the property is listed in the system, the seller has agreed to pay the commission, okay? If the property is not listed, that would be a for sale by owner, for example, that owner has not agreed to pay a commission. So if ultimately your buyer finds a FSBO or you find a FSBO for your buyer and the buyer wants to pursue that home, you need a document called the authorization to show unlisted property. And that will confirm that you will be paid the commission to represent the buyer in the sale, okay? It is the buyer's duty to make sure, and this is really discussed a little bit more in the purchase and sale, but it's the buyer's duty to make sure they understand all of the details, if you will, about the home they're buying, right? So if for example, it would bother them that there was a sex offender that lived on their street, they should do the research on whether there's a sex offender on the street. Okay, it's not my job to do. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that bothers them or not. It's not my job. That's their job. That's their due diligence period. It's not my due diligence period. My due diligence, or my role, is to make sure they have access to everything they want during the due diligence period. Their decision is to buy it. I have a client who just bought a home a couple of months ago that we were aware, and I asked this question because I had a feeling it was happening, and so I asked. Somebody passed away in the home. Okay. I don't think I'd buy a home that somebody passed away in. If I knew about it, that's just my personal, little eerie for me. This guy didn't care one bit, right? It was an estate selling the home. In the state of Georgia, remember, the seller or the seller's agent is not required to share whether somebody passed away in the home unless they're asked directly. So I asked the listing agent directly, hey, I see there is an estate selling the home. Did the person die in the home? So the person did die in the home. Right? Okay, great. So I put in writing to my client, just want to make sure I discovered this in the course of our conversation. There was somebody that passed away in the home. Just want you to have that knowledge before you decide to move forward, yes or no. Okay. All right, next, keep going down just a bit. All right, there's no blanks here, so we won't spend a ton of time, but I'm encouraging you again to read through this. Time is of the essence. All right, stop there. All right, you see where it says brochures? Let me give you a good little check on which brochures you want to include. ABCs of realty, or ABCs of agency. Yes, always. Okay, lead-based paint pamphlet. I would go ahead and check that because you don't necessarily know if they're going to buy a home that it was built prior to 1978, unless they've specifically said, I want new construction or something like that. Mold pamphlet. Yeah, I'd go ahead and send it to them. EPA home buyer and seller's guide to radon pamphlet. Yes. Hopefully they don't read it because it'll scare the crap out of them and they may never live anywhere again. Okay. Next, protect yourself when buying a home. Yes. Protect yourself. What to consider when buying a home with an HOA. If they're buying a home with an HOA, send it to them. What to consider with buying a home in a condominium. If they're not buying a condominium, don't bother. Okay. Protect yourself when buying a home to be constructed. If they're not buying a new construction, you don't have to send that to them. What to know about flood areas and insurance. I would probably not send that to them unless they identify a home that is in a floodplain, and then I would send it to them. Okay. What to know about short sales and distressed properties. Again, probably not send that to them unless they identify a home and want to move forward with a distressed sale. Remember, there's like less than 1% of closings right now are distressed sales, or homes on the market are distressed sales. Okay, and retainer fee, I never did that. Okay, special stipulations. That's where you would say something like, I don't know, if you committed to paying for a home warranty for them, or let's say you got the home, if they, I'm trying to think of what some special stipulations would be.
Bill,
Yeah.
for the ones that I've been doing, here is where I put this agreement may be canceled at any time for any reason by either party by written notice or something like that. That's where I'll put that stipulation.
There's also that reminds me, there's a document in the Google Drive that we put together a couple of months ago that was kind of like the typical stipulations, right? And Andy puts a couple of stipulations in that I never did, but I actually think they're great ideas. We're almost done, guys, so just hang tight with me. So he put in a couple of stipulations in right here, and it says, and then I'll read them to you, and I will post them in the WhatsApp as well. So there's a couple for buyer's agents here, or for buyer agency agreements, and it says, the Peters Company, working as agent for the selling broker, encourages all buyers to have general radon, sewer scope or septic inspection, pool inspection if applicable, and termite inspections on all property. The Peters Company, working as an agent for the selling broker, encourages all buyers to obtain a survey for all the property. The Peters Company, and I'll send this to you so you guys don't have to jot it down. Working as an agent for the selling broker encourages all brokers to obtain enhanced title insurance for the property. Peters Company, working as an agent for the selling broker, does not control the lending environment and cannot take responsibility for any delays associated with a particular lender. Okay, here's a different way of saying that. Buyer acknowledges that broker recommends buyer obtain a professional home inspection, a termite and wood destroying organisms inspection, an appraisal, a survey, and enhanced policy of title insurance for the property. Buyers considering purchasing along with any other test or inspections deemed necessary to confirm that the property is safe and suitable for buyer's purposes. What that means is, for example, let's say the home inspection, the home inspector says something like, hey, this deck is, not supported the way to code or something like that. I recommend a structural engineer. Hey, we've got some, what I believe to be mold here. I recommend a mold remediator inspect and address this, right? That's basically saying, look, you got to follow the advice of the professionals you bring in here. And I'm warning you right now to do that. If you choose not to get a survey, if you choose not to get a termite inspection, that's on you. But I've warned you in writing here. I do believe these are really smart. Okay. I go down to the bottom for me, John. I just posted all of that in the chat. Okay, well, go a little higher, Okay, where it says additional special stipulations are attached. Obviously, if there's more, check that box. Otherwise, don't. Okay, go down. Okay, this is where you put the buyer's information. print their name, their address for receiving notification, their email, their cell. Same with the spouse, right? If there's three buyers, like husband, wife, and like their father or something, then you can attach an additional signature page. Otherwise, leave that box unchecked. And at the bottom, at the top, it's Keller Williams Realty Consultants, then your signature, then your name, the date, the licensee's phone number. If you don't have a fax number, you don't want somebody faxing the office and consider that notice, like where you could receive it over the weekend or something, just leave it blank. Your email address, your license number, your realtor information. Everyone knows the MLS office code is KWRO01. The broker firm number is H as in Harry -46087. The broker number is 678-287-4800. I would personally leave the fax blank and the broker's address. Okay. Just a reminder, it's not relevant here because this document is only between you and the client. The other party is not, when you submit an offer, you're not sharing this document. Okay, this is just between you and the buyer. Okay. On the purchase and sale agreement, I've mentioned this before, but I want to make sure you guys hear this loud and clear. Is there's a similar signature signature lines where it's like buyer's email and cell and address and all that. That is none of the seller's business. I do not recommend that you fill that out. The seller gets to see the buyer's name and their signature. They do not get to see the buyer's email address or cell phone number or mailing address. It's none of their business, and I don't want them talking to my buyer without me involved. Make sense? Okay, any questions?
Hey, Bill, I have a question.
All right.
When sending the buyer brokerage agreement, I'm always confused on with the stipulations. Should I send it with the buyer brokerage agreement, or should it be all one document signed when we send it over?
Well, the stipulations like that we just went over.
Yeah, these are here. The ABCs.
I would. Oh, not stipulations. The brochures.
I'm sorry. Yes, the brochures. I'm sorry.
It doesn't necessarily matter. Basically, when they go to sign this, they're acknowledging receipt of the brochures. So you want to, if anything, you probably want to send it either right before or at the same time.
I've been including it with the. I'll include it with. I'll include all the brochures with the agreement.
Right. If it was me, I'd probably separate it, just because it
I typically separate. That's why I was asking.
Kind of overwhelming. Like you send them the 100-page radon brochure and the 300-page lead-based paint disclosure, and then one out of the 600 pages that you send them is the signature page. They're like, I'm scared. Right. Yeah. I would just send them all the PDFs in one email. Hey, I'm about to send you the buyer brokerage agreement for your autograph. Here, this is a reference of all the PDFs and brochures that you will shortly acknowledge receipt of. Okay.
Where do those are on, they're the GAR forms, or where do we find those?
Yeah, exactly. So same place within DocuSign, you can access these GAR forms, and they're all labeled right here. So whether you get them on Remind or whether you get them on DocuSign or .loop or whatever system you're using, they're right here. They're all GAR forms.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the buyer brokerage agreement at this time? Anyone have any questions? Okay, don't forget 3612.3 is today from 1:30 to 3:30. We will not have sessions on Thursday or Friday. I don't know if I'm setting myself for disaster or not, but there's probably 4 or 5 slots that I could move calls. So if you have a 15-minute session on Thursday or Friday of this week, and you have a desire to hold that, just message me privately. I'm not going to chase you down, but message me privately, and we'll see if we can't get you in earlier on in the week. Please do not forget, while I've got everyone's attention, We are a little behind in our number reporting, so please, please, please take a moment to do that before you start forgetting about what those numbers were. And if you have not completed the survey, I just need you to complete it once, but if you've not completed the survey, please do. If you're new to the group and some of the questions seem you don't really know the answer to or whatever, just put a little dot so it looks like you've completed it, and then move on to the questions which are more appropriate, okay? I'm in the process of really building out some of our systems and making some adjustments to the program for the new year. So I'd love your feedback on the program, and I'd like to get that by you filling out the survey, okay? Tomorrow we will do something similar for the listing agreement, and today I will be sending out the weekly email. The final day of the third week in December for reporting purposes is today. So go ahead and complete that when you're done generating leads for the day. Got it? Was this helpful?
Can we do it like, you know, before by 5 today, or like, is there a time limit?
You can do whatever whenever you want. If you do it whenever you're done for the day. So if you'd like to, now, obviously, if you're catching up from 2 weeks ago, please do it as soon as you can. But if you, no need to post it now if you're going to spend the day making calls and whatnot. Okay. So when you're done working for the day, just update it for me. Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's on mute. I'm sorry.
Anything else? All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. See you soon.
You too. Take care, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. So long.